Hey, all right. Well, how's it going, man? Everybody out there, welcome back to the Getting Down with Dave. It's been a couple of weeks. You had Christmas, and then you had New Year. And for all you Star Trek people out there, uh, JT Kirk wished you a Merry Christmas with this. Actually, a pretty good Christmas sweater, not a horrible Christmas sweater at
Yeah.
all. I like that one
Well,
actually.
it's I wouldn't wear it to work, but hey,
Ah, unless it was horrible Christmas sweater day.
it
But
does
there
have a
you go.
collar though.
It
The
does
getup
have a
does
collar.
have a collar, so I guess you could wear it in the office, right?
Yeah, yeah, you could do that. And welcome back, JT Kirk.
Yeah,
The
thank you.
other
Happy New
JT Kirk.
Year.
Yeah,
Happy New
happy New
Year.
Year. I was getting a little antsy about doing some videos. I guess I could have got off my ass and done a few videos in between, but I just felt like not
The
doing that.
holidays.
So
The
yeah, it's the
holidays, you know
holidays.
how it goes.
Yeah, yeah. And Gap is in the chat. And Gap, I sent you a link if you want to check it, and you're welcome to come on. If not, more than welcome as always to hang out with us. We always appreciate that you do. And so, yeah, I was being lazy, and I don't mind admitting it, Gap. So,
You know what? Most YouTubers take at least 1 week off at the end of December. And I have heard in years past that a lot of them barely make anything in January because AdSense is down and a lot of the other money making things for them just aren't there in January for whatever reason. So
yeah, I
they
don't know.
do some mental healing, go take a vacation, do a lot of that kind of stuff. Like the big guys, right? The ones that they can leave for a couple weeks and the channel's not going to implode on them.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And you can always sneak in and do a 15, 20-minute video and just,
sure,
talk, ramble on for a couple of minutes and then throw it
sure.
on there, bitch
Yeah.
and complain about some politics and throw it out there.
Well, you know what we don't have to, bitch about is we have Battlestar Galactica this evening,
Yes.
don't we? So
Yes.
we have something fun.
And fun. So JT, you
Mhm.
said that you did read the first two issues before
I
tonight.
did. I did.
Yes, and I did
Mhm.
as well. And we were talking about backstage. But first, I wanted to say that Gap, this was his recommendation. Um, he does a lot of shorts and stuff like that. Gap, if you can pull up his channel, I forgot to do that,
Okay.
JT, or I can do it while we're
Oh, no,
talking.
just give me about 10 seconds.
Okay,
I'll
because I'm
have
going
it.
to ramble on and throw that in there for him because you are a wrench, right, JT? Yes. Okay,
Yes,
you're a
I am.
wrench.
Mhm.
And I forgot to do that. I apologize. But Cap does have a channel, and he throws a lot of cool little stuff out there, especially some BSG stuff. So this was his recommendation. I thought it was a good recommendation because either if it was good or bad, it's only a four issue series. This 1980. And for everybody out there, JT and I had a problem trying to find it to read it because I use a website that J-Man recommended, J-Man and Sean, Deceptic Sean, and it's called Read All Comics. It's pretty good. You just have to get some of the ads out and stuff like that. But I couldn't find it because I was looking up Battlestar Galactica 1980, right? And it just wasn't there. I
Mhm.
knew it was there a long time ago when Gap After Dark had recommended it. So I knew it was there somewhere, and it's actually just called Galactica 1980. So if
Yes.
anybody wants to go back and read these, whatever website you're using, some people I think there's some paid ones like DC or Marvel that I'm sure are
Or
pretty good.
you go on your favorite online retailer and Galactica 1980, it will produce
Yeah,
result
yeah.
or
To type in
Felipe or
Galactica
yes,
1980, not Battlestar Galactica, because it didn't pop up, and I was like,
right.
where the hell is it? I was trying to find it for yesterday to do the thumbnail and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
so I have the first one up and running, sort of, and everybody knows it's kind of a pain in the butt, but I've already got it kind of lined up for the first one. It should be scrolling for us, right, JT?
No, I
Yes.
did find on the old site we were using for the last one as well, searching just Galactica.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
it is out there in many places. You may find this at your local comic shop. We don't want to discount that either, but it's definitely going to be a rare find. In fact, I don't know how much effort you want to put into doing that without just finding a comic shop online that's going to say, yeah, we have it.
Well, the one I use is mycomicshop.com.
Mhm.
And I actually found that through our late buddy Clobby. Clobber and
Oh,
Times had
Clobber and
recommended
Times.
it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And RIP to him. We miss you, buddy.
Oh,
And
yes.
they're out of Texas. I think they're called something else, but the website is mycomicshop.com. And I'm pulling it up right now. Sorry we're taking so long to get into it, but I wanted to, that was a good idea to mention how to find it if you actually want to buy them. And yes, they do have it. It's called mycomicshop.com. I will put this in the link, I think, here. And they have all four in stock. I think they're like $250 each. Yeah, $250 each, and good. You can trust these guys. If they say it's a fine comic or it's in mint condition, it usually is. I've never had a problem with them. Not to say
I
that it would
used
never
them in
happen.
the past. I've used them in the past too. And the one that they said was in mint, and I think they even had a number on it, like 9.6 or something like that. When I
Yeah.
got it, it's actually one of the BSG comics. Yeah, it was really, really good. I mean, the condition was phenomenal.
Yeah, they're from at least my experience, they've been up to par and better.
Mhm.
When they say it's like very fine, it's going to be very fine or better, unless they screw up, and then you can always return it. And I've never had to do that.
I feel like
Excuse me.
sometimes it's a bit relative because the Battlestar Galactica comics were all done on that newspaper type paper, and so
Yeah.
you know the acid in it and all that, and it's the fading over time and the yellowing. Some of that was unfortunate, but you know, I
Yeah.
still used white gloves just so RM Briggs wouldn't be shin
So-
kicking me. So
yeah. I guess when we do our Black Panther, if that's what we do next, definitely gonna have to use the white gloves on that.
oh
Because I
yes.
actually tore some pages off of the staples when I was folding over for my comic book ad, and I used some of my
Mhm.
BSG ones, and I was careful, but then, laying the cover down, a couple of the pages in one of the issues pulled off at the bottom
Oh
staple. I
no.
was like, oh,
Oh
dude. Didn't completely come off, but I
yeah.
don't plan on selling those anyway. So if I do, it'll be
Well,
cheap.
right.
You know.
So now that we're done with that BSG series, we're going to Galactica 1980.
Yes. And again, this was
It's a short run, right?
short run,
4
4 issues.
issues.
Yeah. And immediately you can see that now this was 2009. This came out. So the original
Mhm.
BSGs were talking early 70s, right? No, sorry, late
Yes.
70s. Wait.
Well, if you scroll down a little bit, you can see at the bottom of the cover page, it's a Dynamite #1,
Yep.
rated T plus,
Yeah.
$3.50, and it's not that many pages.
No.
And dynamiteentertainment.com. So you know right there, it did not come out in the 80s.
No, it did not come out in the 80s. This came out in 2009. And immediately it's the artwork, right? What a
Yeah.
very stark
Mhm.
contrast to what we had just done on the original BSG, but that's to be
Hey,
expected.
you know what? I kind of like it.
Um, I kind of
I
like
do.
it. But, just because it's different, it doesn't mean it's bad. It's a little too shaded for me, but they've got the Vipers on there. They've
Mhm.
got the cast, which we will definitely be getting into, right? Because it's not completely the old cast, and there's a little surprise. And number 2, just for you, JT, right? For one of the
Yeah.
cast members. No spoiler alert. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of like
Now, go ahead.
how,
Mhm.
yeah, I kind of like the shading and kind of think maybe it's a little too much, but hey, that's just me, right? But they do stick to what the other Battlestar Galactica did and give you a preview or sort of kind of a preview of what's going to happen, kind of, but not a lot,
Right. Right.
not a lot.
Right.
Um,
Did you miss what's in the background here? on the
No,
cover?
you talking about the mushroom cloud?
Yeah, I did. My
I
brain did not click on that the first time.
I clicked on that about 5 minutes ago, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Only because I read it and then I saw it, and I'm like, oh, that's what that
okay.
is.
Okay. Well, so that's what I was getting at. Did you looks like backstage. I did not get that this was a mushroom cloud before I actually read the issue.
Okay, I see you got. Yeah, I
So,
didn't. Yeah, I didn't see that either. So let's bring on a new guest, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, Half After
hey,
Dark, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Why did it ask me to open up the StreamYard app? I had to download the StreamYard app to get on.
Oh, that's.
oh,
I did not know that. Yeah, I guess. Well, I've been doing it for a while now, so I assume if either you don't do it, you don't come on. You don't get to come on. I guess,
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah, well, let me tell you, I have a lot to say about.
Hey, well, this was your recommendation, and we love people to come on and well, you know how we operate. You've been following us for a while. You did the whole BSG for us. And
Yeah,
then and Putin's cat, and Buddy Hepburn too. Jeez, how did I miss you?
yes.
Oh, hey, hail to Buddy Hepburn as well. Welcome back, dude.
but I do have to say the artwork is much better.
Well, I'll definitely be giving my take on some of the good and some of the bad again. Yeah, and I can say that starting off, yeah, but it's all really depending on your style, right? I mean, I can go a bunch of different styles and like some and then not like some, but yeah. So you like it, JT likes it too. I kind of like it.
It's a more realistic interpretation on the artwork, where that was definitely a comic illustration, no bones about it not being photorealistic in
Right,
the run that we
right.
just finished. This is aiming for a much more photorealistic image for each one of them. So you will see individual strands of hair and shading in the irises on the eyes, color differences on the uniforms. They didn't have that capability back
No,
when
they
the
didn't have
original run that we read was even out. They had what, a dozen colors
a dozen
thereabouts.
colors, and we talked about it many times, and with Hungry Boy about time, and they didn't have time to go fix things that that all of us here picked out sometimes that was just really bad and really good sometimes, right? Adama looks really good on this cover. And this
Yeah,
intro to everybody.
yeah,
Second.
and two of the actors, they resemble two of the actors, and sort of Adama and Dylan. Yeah.
Well, when was the last time you watched the movie, the 1980 show?
About 2 years ago.
Wow, it's been a
Okay.
long time for me. I'm thinking now I probably should have gone back and watched it before I did this.
All
But
I'm
I
going
was
to
telling.
say is JT Spaceballs episode. Oh, anyway. Oh,
I
wait,
like.
hold on. I have to interrupt the stream. I've got to jump on
Mhm.
my motorcycle that flies in the air. Hold on. But anyway.
Oh, definitely.
So let's see here. Are any of these people that wrote, illustrated, lettered, colored, or did the cover art famous?
I
Or anything
know
else?
Luigi
Guggenheim.
Perillo.
Guggenheim. Yeah, Perillo.
Mm-hmm.
And Guggenheim, I've heard of him before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would go with the cover art. I don't know the other ones, but I think the illustrations are good, kind
Yeah,
of.
I like this background inlay. Did you notice that? The faces
Yes.
again? That was
Yeah.
kind of cool that they did that. So they took the time to do things like this, something that JT and I always talked about, how it seems that either one, they didn't care, especially the one issue that JT and I, we both, on people in the chat as well, we had this very odd feeling that there was a couple of guys sitting in the office drinking, having fun, smoking cigars. Remember that? issue.
Oh yeah.
And they're just having fun, and you can kind of tell that sometimes they really just let's get it. They didn't care, but they were having fun with it. I forget what issue that is, but it was definitely.
Just so folks know, we are viewing this online as a review purpose, which is permissible through the copyright on the inside cover of the comic. So
absolutely.
It is explicitly listed there. So that is the purpose we're using it for. So
yeah.
Just getting that out of the way. Yeah. Just getting that out of the way now.
Don't come after my channel, man. I don't want to feel like being attacked.
The other thing I was going to say on this is the better artwork, I think, is more emblematic of not having to chase Battlestar Galactica in 1979 or 1980 to try to go hot on the heels of a TV show, right? They're covering something that's 20 years almost after the fact, so they could take a little bit of time and spend money that hopefully they thought they could get it back. I mean, Universal probably didn't care.
Well, it's almost 30 years
out. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they don't get me started on Galactica 1980. Let's just dive into this
to the comic, yeah.
Because
maybe we'll do a show review some other time, maybe.
Yeah, there's some little saucy language in the first few pages.
Yes.
And I'm like, I want to smack one of the characters, but I'll let you know which one when we get to that page.
Oh, well, feel free, because we've wanted to beat the hell out of a lot of characters in this show. I mean, in the original comic book, that's for sure. I do like the homage to the intro. This guy here giving a lecture, and they snuck it in. I like how they kind of snuck it in, because that for me, that was the main thing. They have it, and they did it. They put it in the top of the splash page in the original show. I mean,
but I have a problem. If this is a lecture, what are they referring to back in 1971?
Yeah, it's you kind of have to feel it out. I didn't read this for like the longest time until today, because I wanted to see what was going to happen. I didn't want to have any predispositions on how I was going to do things. Just kind of go by the flow and what I had just read. I literally read it like a couple hours ago. So they've got a flashback to 1971, and then they up it to 77, where they're in some kind of lab. So they're setting it up as kind of a splash page, but kind of letting you know what's going to happen. It's kind of an intro, and then it's 1980, right? With the Earth, which everybody already knew they were going to find her. But it's right there. Subtleties, right?
I did think this was kind of fun in a way that they have this professor bringing this intro in a way that reminds me of the movie The Core, where they kind of have the crackpot professor talking about this type of stuff, and then he was proven, I guess, right, and then he gets pulled in. Ooh. Reminded me a little bit of this, and so that was kind of fun, just because the archetype of the wacky professor, right?
And Dad Man stopped in to say hello.
Hello, Dad
Man. And plug your channel, Dad Man. Put in there. You're a wrench there. Yeah, I don't know about they went from 1971. I like how they did the monologue part, right? I mean the intro part. But they go from 71, 77 to 80, then back to 71, and then they got this, I'm assuming, a college kid who's kind of being a smart ass to the professor.
Well, he's a Harvard student. He's a Harvard student, so I mean,
what do you mean, kinda?
Yeah, he's being a dick.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
especially when he's like, "Who believes this?"
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, but this professor did they say the guy's name? They didn't give any background on him, right? except that he's
No.
in school. So we know he's a professor giving a lecture.
Yeah, in a lecture, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we can kind of figure that out on our own. But I like how they snuck the whole the whole thing. I love that intro.
I can tell that Dave is wanting to get through fast because he's never gone this fast. Anyway, episode 1,
No,
Galactica
not at all.
discovers Earth.
Well, would any comments about how they did this intro into it?
It's screwed up.
Really? Yeah. Is it more or less compared to the show, or?
Well, if you're going to do, there are those who believe that life began out there. Lecture. How would you know that in 1971? How would you know that the Galactica hasn't even shown up yet? So how would you know this?
Well, I thought about that, and all I can come up with, because that intro is quintessential to me for the show, the original show. So for me, that they put it in there, number one, that's a good thing. I think it was just some kind of weird departure to kind of slide it in there, phrasing, and that's really the only way I can explain it. They could have done it a million other ways. They could have just done it in type at the top of the page, if they wanted to have done that. I think it was just kind of some kind of clever way that they thought would have been, well, on their part.
I mean, I told you I had a lot to say. Okay, here's my take.
Go for it.
All right.
Go for it.
So in my opinion, you could have, there are those who believe that life out there began this way. Okay, so it should have been done like the opening of the show,
yes,
but explain 20 yarns, 40 yarns later, this is what happened to the Galactica in between time before they discover Earth, and that Apollo's dead, and we don't know what's going on with Starbuck. Where's Athena? What happened to Colonel Ty? What happened to the crew? And then how did this obnoxious genius that looks like Elmo become the leader of the Galactica?
Yeah, we're gonna get into that character, dude.
I'm just saying.
We're definitely gonna get into that character, because JT and I have grades. I'm not much of a grader, but as far as character developments, we'll be given a grade on that one.
Okay, so now we're on.
Well, for me, Gab, I was kind of, like I said, I didn't want to predisposition myself before I read these. So everything you said, I was thinking of. You had some really good points on they could have done it differently, like a space montage. I would have liked to have seen that. But as far as the crew and everything goes, I'm kind of crossing my fingers that they'll do like a Highlander backstory. Why they would do that? JT and I always just shake my heads on why they do things back then. They did a lot of crazy stuff that didn't make any sense at all. But that's what they did. So I'm kind of hoping in 3 and 4 there might be some backstories. I don't know. I haven't read those yet. Have you read the 3 and 4 yet, JT?
No, because I didn't want to inadvertently spoil anything for anyone else. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I could have, but no.
I was tempted, but I stopped. I stopped at the end of the second book.
Oh, I thought you read them all. Okay.
Well, I read them all a long time ago, because actually I have the omnibus with all 4 issues.
Oh, nice.
In it, and apparently I ordered it twice, so I can bend this copy.
There you go.
Well, that's a Christmas gift for me in 12 months, 11 months.
Yeah, I'll give it to you, because I was like, wait a minute, and then I went through my bookcase and I was like, oh damn, I have like 2, and I have like 2 or 3 copies of Galactica stuff, and I'm like, why in the world did I? And that's because I put stuff in boxes and forget that I have
I've
them.
done
But
that. What's
anyway, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. But
no, you're fine.
all right, page
You're
1,
fine.
Galactica discovers Earth.
Yes, Galactica
I,
discovers Earth.
If you go back up just for a second, sorry, I want to drag this back just
No,
a
go
little
ahead.
bit. The one
You want to
little
shop at
frame.
Bloomingdale's? You need some
No,
lingerie?
no. Okay, so right here, I was trying to look for a picture of the illustrator for Cesar Razek. Sorry, I probably butchered that name. If you really look close at this mustache, there is like 3-dimensional depth on this. Like, some dude really spent a ton of time on it. And I actually started chuckling when I looked at it because I'm like, whoever drew this had a big appreciation for facial hair.
Yes,
In a
in
way
70
that, like,
Or
you see
70 porn movies.
70
Yeah,
porn stash. You see those massive sideburns?
oh yeah.
Okay,
But
since we're criticizing people, the guy in the middle
It's purple.
panel, look at those teeth. I mean, ugh.
And he's purple. I don't know
Yeah.
what happened there.
he just needs caps. I mean, come on. But no, I looked at that mustache and I'm like, somebody spent like way too much time thinking about how that thing's gonna look. Anyway,
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, they nailed it for 71 disco, right? So
yeah.
Episode 1, Galactica discovers.
Galactica discovered. Spoilers, everybody.
I saw
This is
that.
what
I
this
was
is
like,
about.
wow, you just
Gave away the whole
you
thing.
didn't even wait to the third date. Come on.
No.
Like,
No.
jeez.
Can I get a reach around on this? You know? Come on.
Yeah, well, since you always ask me that I'm drunk, I might be able to do a reach around. Oh, wait, that's in the book.
I might have to go get a little rum for this show because it's going great. This is going to be good.
Oh, it already.
I might have
starts
to go
off
get a
awesome.
drink here. 'Cause I'm drinking water.
Okay,
But-
I'll try to refrain from interrupting. I'm
No,
biting
no.
my tongue. You should hear me with my fingers on the desk. You know how you do each finger at a time?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I can't wait. I wonder what part we can't wait for that has an explode. Anyway,
Oh, we'll get to that character. Don't worry.
no, that has an explode.
Oh,
I'm not finishing it.
Gotcha.
Mm.
All right.
So, what do you think
go
of the
ahead.
Vipers, Dave? We were really critical on the old series about the Vipers being all kinds of jacked up all the time. What do
I
you
like
think of
these. I like these two Vipers here.
Yes.
Time and space is something we always talked about on the last series as well. The background, you can see like the stars are even a little blurry that they're in motion. That was something kind of new, right? It gives you a really good motion especially with the blue blasters. I love the colors here. The little red on the back of right before the turbos with the white lines there. I don't know about that too much. For some reason that stuck out to me. I don't know where that came from.
Well, I can see that it sticks out to you because when you just look at it, it draws you in there first instead of drawing you in overall. Maybe.
Yeah, they're like a bunch of little dashes in the red. The rest of it, like the wings and stuff, are excellent.
Was there not a red stripe that runs the length of the fuselage that's not there?
Yes, on top.
On top, yeah. These white dashes on the turbos in front of the black turbo blaster covers. Those white, I don't know. It was just, I don't know. It just kind of caught my eye. But what do you guys think about the Vipers and the art?
I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would give it that. I think the flame effects are phenomenal. And like you said, the telling of speed by blurring the star drop, behind it was also a good effect. I think the main fuselage is a little narrow, in a little too oval shaped in the vertical.
Oh, I wish you hadn't said that because now to me it looks like a pistol that you could break apart.
But
However,
they put the time and effort.
we're already getting into this. You always think you've got a contact. Are you drunk? And you always ask me that. You're drunk, and I'm sitting here, Dave, going, "What the hell is
Me too.
I took notes on it. I took
Look,
notes on it.
I am
And
not
hail
drunk.
to fandom outsider. Sorry,
I
cut you
am
guys
not
off.
drunk. I'm drinking. There's a difference, Dylan.
Phantom is here.
Go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
wrote
drunk. I'm
down
drinking. There's a difference.
Drinking and driving
That's like what a drunk person would
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got the flask, and he's.
I'm like, wait a second. So, without too many spoilers, because it had been mentioned, but I'm thinking this is obviously not Apollo or Boomer or any of those guys. Even they never referenced that Starbuck, who was a cigar. He would have a cigar in his mouth every single frame, but he never.
This is
drank.
2009, so now we can't have a cigar fiend, but we can have a raging alcoholic
in a Viper. And I'm like, Apollo would not be tolerating. Now, if he was doing it on the down low, that would be one thing, but he wouldn't be overtly telling anybody, yeah, I'm knocking them down. You should be too. Right.
Oh, excuse me. That's what goes back to the beginning of this book. There are those who believe la da 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 da. By the way, in the past 20 yarns, so-and-so bit the bucket. Starbucks lost. Athena got married and had 12 babies. I don't know, something.
We don't know what's going on here because these guys' names are Troy and Dylan. And like I said, Apollo wouldn't be out there drinking or tolerate any other Viper pilot doing it as well.
And you're drawn to this book, a lot of them, is because it's got the word Galactica in it.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't you set it up correct? Well, I wouldn't say correctly, but why don't you set it up that way so you fill in the gaps between the TV show and this show that they realized they shouldn't have canceled after the other show.
Yeah, well, yeah, they should have never done that. But we get new characters, right? This Troy and Dylan guy. And for JT, Gab, we have to point out here, this is something that JT had been looking forward to for quite a long time in the other series, right, JT?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what I'm talking about here, right?
Flight stick.
The flight stick.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you're right. Because it wasn't in the,
Well, they had terrible ones. They had the old World War I, World War II, actually World War One, if we remember that one plane that Starbucks stole, that had rubber tires in space.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, that's fine. Rubber probably wouldn't fall apart. I don't know. But anyway, I get my monitor shot, right, Cap? And every Phantom and Buddy, I get a good monitor shot. And JT, you get an excellent joystick here. Right?
Flight stick, sir. Flight stick. They do kind of cheat a little bit because this book was after the 2004 reboot concluded. So they have the Dratus on the center of that, which was that right there in the 1980 version?
No, well, not exactly like that, but it was a rehash of what they had in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Which was that simple green outline and the stupid rolling through. Oh, it's a freighter. Well, can't you tell that from looking at it? But anyway.
Yeah. So, moving through this, they have a thing saying, whatever, everybody should be drinking because we've never even seen Cylons. That's how long ago. What's the point in doing all this? And he's the wingman says, no, I'm glad that I've never seen a Cylon because my commanding officer happens to be 90 proofed almost all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here going, he's drinking he's not just drinking regular whiskey. He's on some barrel strength stuff and he's trying to fly this around. Come on.
Yeah. It's an interesting way to get introduced to these guys. So it's like, okay, Are they trying to fill in for Starbuck with a drunk guy, or we'll see how this pans out? Because I'm thinking this isn't, pardon the pun, gonna fly, right? With Commanders, or if Ty or Apollo is around, or so we're gonna have to sit and wait and see what happens. But the artwork here in the old comic, they did a really good job with the helmets for some odd reason, and some of the faces with the helmets. Like they took their time for some things and didn't care a damn about a lot of others in the other comic, right?
Mhm.
This cockpit is done really well. You've got they pay a lot of attention to detail, especially hands. I forgot one page that I wanted to show. I forgot. I think it's on issue 2. But yeah, and then we get another good space shot with Vipers. They find, because they find something floating through.
That looks like V'ger.
V'ger too, yeah.
Well, yeah, the V'ger that didn't come back in the future.
Jim, you have the ship. I want this. Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong IP.
Yeah.
But you look at that and you're like, oh, it's V'ger. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And consistency is one of the things. And then also references to Star Wars, Star Trek, and all other kinds of stuff, which you're going to get. Yeah. You're going to get in sci-fi. But yeah, this is a V'ger episode here. But I like this panel to the left. Again, that space, that time and space that they show, right? Mm-hmm. That one Viper's closer, the one's a little farther away, but you get that deep sense of how far out they are. So I'm kind of digging that. You know, even these small panels, they make a big difference sometimes. But then we get to this.
And they said, screw it, because we cannot draw that detailed.
And they draw something that looks like it came out of
garbage
your restroom.
Disposal. Yeah.
Wait, are those turds? Oh, those aren't turds. Those are ships on the side. Okay, yeah, okay.
Hey, FKHC 2005 popped in. Welcome.
Hey. Now, I will say the background of this doesn't look that bad.
No, actually,
the background is fine. But okay.
I'm trying to be nice.
No, I'm not going to be nice. This looks like a metal die-cast toy that got thrown in the garbage disposal, and the parent turned off the garbage disposal and pulled it out. You know what I mean? It looks like 1,000 asteroids hit it. I don't get it.
Well, you know the Galactica is not smooth, right, Dave?
Yeah. But but all of us know it's also defined by lines. I mean, it looks like it was just battered to shit. Do you know what I'm saying? Is it just me?
It's just you.
Okay. It's just you.
Yeah. Okay. Did you like this Battlestar Galactica?
I give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm giving it like I like the outline design, which JT, the shovel head's not there.
Right.
They
avoid some of the mistakes, but the flight bays, well, the one we can see anyway, just looks awful.
Crushed. The launch bay looks like it's crushed.
Thank you. It looks beat up.
It looks like they smeared 3 ounces of Vaseline on the lens they took this picture with,
or a space vampire come and sucked on the landing bays and crushed it a little. Oh, sorry, that's Buck Rogers.
Yeah, no, that's Buck Rogers. I give this ship illustration. Well, I wasn't there for training day last night on Toxic Tuesday, so and I'm sad about that. I give this a 6.9.
That's generous for me. I give the other one way better than this. But anyway, I'm picking. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, what happened?" But the outline is good. The outline is good.
You get a whole page of this character doing Captain's log. Blah
Captain's
blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and who is this guy?
Adama.
Oh, we're just assuming that, right?
No, it's Adama, because Adama's the only one that does the. But usually he does it in his in his ready room, and basically, I think this page is about people getting tired of being on the ship, and they want to. The leadership wants to abandon the quest for Earth. That's how I would sum up this page.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell the difference between the face of the cover artist and the regular artist. Not that it's bad. I'm just saying you can see the differences, right? He had that really model hair look, and with the wisping hair, and now it's all come back and really, really Santa Clausy. But he's old here.
I prefer to call it distinguished.
Yes, it's distinguished. If my beard was out, it'd be almost
gentleman can grow a beard, man.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Whoever drew this, what really respected facial hair.
Yes,
that looks like Burl Ives.
It does look like Burl Ives. Absolutely. And it's kind of funny about what he's thinking, because they pulled out a sci-fi trope, if that's the correct word, of there's a rumor going around that they're going to have to start breeding the women, basically, right?
Well,
childbearing age women have to have homegrown sterilization.
I don't think you'd have to start. I think if you're just wandering around for 20 years, it's going to happen, because you're going to get bored after a while.
What would have been funny if Starbuck is around,
right?
Because we still don't know what's going on. Yes, absolutely. Freaking hilarious. Can you, because I was always about injecting humor into the other one when appropriate, right? And obviously they couldn't do it because it wouldn't be serious, like the Cylons breaking the fourth wall type crap. But obviously they weren't going to do it.
Did you just say injecting some, putting it where?
Well, I just binged Archer, so there's going to be a lot of phrasing on this show. I literally just binged.
I mean, we're talking
series.
about, JT's talking about men and women eventually getting bored. So somebody's going to have to stick something in somewhere, right?
Well, I mean, that's usually how it works. I mean,
survey
says that's how all that works.
Okay, we'll do innuendos. You got to put your blaster in a holder.
You see, Dave, when a man and a woman love each other very much.
Oh, is that how it works? I wouldn't know anymore.
The stork flies shows up.
Yeah, we caught my eye here. I don't know if you guys saw this. He's got a little model of a Viper sitting on his desk. I'm like, damn, I need one. I've got a little Cylon
20
over there.
years to make that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave, then you would like the die-cast models they did of the Retro Viper.
Oh.
They're about 3.5 inches.
Well, I found out.
Stand.
For anybody out there, masterreplicas.com has redone some of the Eagle Moss Vipers that were so popular, the foot-long ones.
Yes, I have the original ones.
Yeah, well, they're redoing them. They've remade the same Eagle Moss. I didn't know that Master Replicas had bought
did
the
they
rights to
buy
Eagle
the
Moss.
remaining stock, or did
they
make new ones?
They bought,
sold the remaining stock.
Okay, they got the remaining Master Replicas. They went into what's called administration, aka bankruptcy. In the UK, they call it the administrative state.
Right.
So basically, they scooped up everything they had from Eagle Moss warehouse, and then when they found out that people really still were digging it and they were selling out, now they're making them again.
Yeah, they're remaking them at a good price too. Although they're British pounds.
Yeah, and they're adding more stuff to other IPs that they didn't before, i.e., Stargate. Now they're offering
Star Trek.
Yeah, Star Trek, but like Stargate, they just manufactured 1, 2, 3 new ships. The latest one is the Puddle Jumper from Atlantis, but they did the Stargate SG-1 gate. And then they did the Atlantis gate. So that's completely new. So they just took over everything. They bought everything. The boxes look the same. Everything down to the looks the same.
So you're telling me there's more than 2 Stargates on Earth?
Well, yes.
I'm just being a smartass.
You are a smartass because Russia, Russia's got the other one. We blew up one, and then Antarctica. But remember, the other gate is in the Pegasus Gallery Galaxy.
I put the one of the pages for Master Replicas. You just click on that and then pull up Battlestar
Oh, yeah.
Galactica, and they are doing a lot of
Oh, yeah.
Stargate.
Dave C. would like to be sponsored by Master Replicas.
Yes, I would.
Oh, well, yes.
Yes, I would.
I think that
I'm
would
sorry.
be fun.
I don't think I should be on here. I'm derailing it. We're 50 minutes in, and
You're not
we're
derailing
only on
anything.
These are not
Right?
long issues.
You're not.
We're
This was
more than
I-
halfway through this issue already.
We're halfway through it already. Because we got to get to that one character, because that one might take some time for the
Oh,
This is
reason
the one
that's
I
going to
got to turn
happen.
my
So I'm
camera
warning
off
everybody,
that
when
one
we get to
comes
this
in.
particular character, there's going to be some ranting.
all right.
But
You
this
got
was
a page.
so.
You got a
so
page
I'll
in
move
the
it
hand.
along. I'll
So
move
this-
it along. This
this
is
is
an
a rather
interesting development.
Depressing thing. I don't know how much you want to show this on YouTube,
I'm going to show
Dave.
the whole thing. It's in the
okay.
comic.
Go ahead and
Okay.
scroll
Comic.
down. Reveal the next panel.
Here we go. I'm like, whoa! What the?
Yeah.
What is getting ready to happen here?
Commander Adama. Commander
Warning.
Adama. Please
I am going
report
to
to the
spoil
Rising
alert
Star.
for everybody. I think I probably should. If this is sensitive to anybody, what do you think? That he doesn't. You can see here in the next panel, he doesn't do it. So,
Yeah.
which, but I was like, holy shit! Shit balls,
Yeah, folks,
Batman.
just as a disclaimer, please never elect
Don't.
that option.
Yeah, never elect that.
Get help
option.
immediately if you're thinking about it. So we'll just leave it there.
But we find out that so he's in a really bad mood right here, obviously, right? He gets called on the intercom. You could say that, right? And he rips into there's the Daggett reference to this character named Z, which we'll get to. Hold on, guys. We'll get to it. I know it's going to happen, but we'll get to it.
Dave, I won't be summoned. Dave, I won't be summoned by you or anyone else like a Daggett Z. Get it?
Yeah, nobody puts baby in a corner, Z.
That's right. So don't you scroll down until we're ready.
So even though that character said, "Please come to the wherever,"
he said, "Please."
He said, "Please," or whatever it is. Said, "Please," because I'm not sure. To be honest with you, but. And then they apologize. Z, this is character Z, but no respect for the Daggets. Come on,
can I do the voice of Z?
You absolutely.
Yes,
I meant no disrespect, of course, Adama.
Wait for it, everybody. Wait for it.
So
they go down. They go down and find Vizier 2. And I thought that was, who's sitting there playing around with it. Because you remember in the other series, JT, Foxy had free reign to run around everywhere.
I saw this. I
thought that was Foxy.
And I said, oh, hell no.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, hell no.
No,
right.
Foxy's a grown man now.
Well, you never know.
It's interesting because
you
they
never
don't
know, Gap, because if you remember in the bullshit, that was what was that episode 14?
Issue 14, yes. Everybody.
Where he was irradiated with more radiation than has ever been released through any Soviet, Tsar Bomba testing. By going into the unshielded core, and he just walked straight out.
You're incorrect because I had my radiation underwear on.
Oh, he had his radiation underoos on, right?
That's right.
He had his Batman underoos on.
See, that must have been what it was. I mean, it just melts the Daggett, but shit,
Yeah.
Come see what your men brought for me to play with.
Okay, we're gonna move on from that one.
It's
phrasing.
Wait, I need to go to the next one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Adama comes down there and he's in a crappy mood, but he actually maybe getting called down there helped him. Thought about that. Maybe it distracted him for just a second, which is a good thing. And this character Z is a absolute shitheel. And I'm just going to say it because you'll see here in a minute. But he's trying to explain. I guess I don't know. I'm going with he. He said that it's not Cylon. He's trying to tell him.
Well, no. Have Gap read it. Have Gap read it.
Which panel is this?
The top one here showing
The top part, yeah.
with V'ger.
But it's not Cylon. It's something far better. Maybe you should tell him, Doctor. You take the fun out of things, Lieutenant Dillon. You have no idea. Stop talking in circles. This probe, where's this probe from? It's not from the Cylons. Then who? The Alliance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, obviously, well, they think it's Cylon. They think everything is Cylon, right? When they first find it. But this Z's try to tell them that it's from Earth. And boy, you want to talk about, I don't know, a narcissist, well, I don't know what you name it. I got to get my thesaurus out for this character. Because Adama asked him, well, how can you be sure? Because he's like, go ahead. Sorry, Kat.
They don't explain who Dr. Z is. They just throw him at people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's
I thought it was
egocentric.
Boxy
He's very
for a hot
egocentric, right?
I thought it was Boxy for a hot minute.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was Boxy that grew up or something.
We know you have boxy bed sheets and pillowcases, JT.
So the doctor.
Yeah. I sent them all to Guantanamo Bay, though.
Yeah.
Anyway.
This character, no, not digging this character at all. But
no,
we'll go with it because I have to. And he explains to himself, how does he know it's from Earth? Because it's me. I'm Z. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Okay, so we're gonna have a character we don't like. That's cool. You have to have characters, good and bad, right? I remember like Sire Yuri.
Mm-hmm.
But he explains to them how he knows, but he's got to put in the I'm Z. That's why type of thing before he explains that. Well, because the probe has all this stuff on it, and that's
I bet.
Instead of just saying that, right?
Were there multiple languages sent in the recording?
Yes.
In the probe, okay, because that would be the only way I could figure out that Z could devise a way in 3.2 centaurs how to translate this language. It's not like they had universal translators in Battlestar Galactica, right? All of the species and the languages were already known. So how do you have this translation matrix down so quickly that you can decode any Earth language? But we learn later that they may have had a cheat sheet.
It's because I'm Dr. Z, JT.
Yeah, that's why, JT.
Oh,
I'm Z.
You're helping things so much here, Gap. Just helping me see it so well.
I am here as Dr. Z to lighten up your day, afternoon or evening.
Yeah, it's a weird kind of interaction, but we get to see this new character. We'll see how it goes. And then as far as the language is concerned, we might as well. I was a little confused as to the fact that the Galactians, right? They don't speak English like we do, right?
No, they probably speak the.
It's foreign to us. It's not.
Well,
they're
exactly.
not speaking regular English to each other. Just for everybody to know. Who's read this or hasn't read this? I'm sorry.
Yeah, but maybe I'll give Z a break. Maybe
for now.
Maybe he knows those languages before the 13 colonies. I'll just say that.
Yeah, well, he can decipher, and I mean, obviously, did you catch the comment of that Z is an old man? You caught that, right?
My apologies. Yes. Oh, here we go. He could read it in the
My
Z
apologies. I'm an old man, Commander, and sometimes my excellent gets the better of my judgment.
I'm like, oh God. I don't know if I'm going to love this character or hate this character yet. So
You'll
I'm
hate it.
reserving judgment until later.
I'm just interpreting what I see.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously a smart character, or wouldn't be a doctorate in charge of looking at probes and all that kind of stuff in the first place, right?
Yeah. Well, so then they are trying to figure out how to release this info because a bunch of people saw it.
Yeah, and once again, security concerns and keeping people from running their mouths on the Galactica is not
What security?
Yeah, every time we've run into something that happens, everybody knows about it in like a parsec, right? If that's the correct time, which we should mention again that in the last series, the BSG original, they started off with the original time terminology, right? And for some reason, the directors and producers and whoever at Marvel decided to change that toward the end of the original series to regular time, which I just thought was ridiculous. I thought maybe they felt like they were going to lose the audience, but like 3/4 of the way through the comic, why are you changing the time? That was their decision. I thought it was a little bit weird, but they're back to the original time terminology.
Mm-hmm. Well, and now in this frame, slightly above, don't scroll, Dave. Come on.
Where
give us a chance.
Where are we?
In this frame right here, this is where the Rebel Alliance shows the plans they recovered from the V'ger computer.
Right. With the Earth hologram here. I expected somebody in the background to go, it's a trap.
I think it's a cantina. I can't get it out of my mouth. Yeah, they did not have that hologram technology back then.
I'm just wondering where the forest moon comes in here and where Mon Mothma is. And then we go down to the next one underneath, and that gal kind of looks like Mon Mothma. I was like, okay, makes sense.
We are within 5 minutes of the fire when ready.
Yeah, it's kind of like, here we go with the council again. And Adama's having to explain everything to him.
And the gist of this page is really that, we know where Earth is.
Pretty much. That's basically it. And the Z, Dr. Z, which might be a Johnny Quest. Oh, gosh. Explains to them that I found it. We can go straight to Earth now. No big deal.
Now,
but here comes the plot. Here comes the most important part of the whole comic, right? Go ahead, Gab.
No, go ahead.
Z is trying to explain to everybody that we're just going to have to go down there and take it over as soon as we get there. We're just going to have to go dominate. And everybody's like, what the heck are you talking about, man? They're all primitives and all this. I'm warning you now. It's like, Jesus,
they are.
Man.
They're primitive. See how primitive? And I'm like, really? They're primitive?
If they're that primitive, what are you worried about? Right? I mean, if they're
more primitive groups, I mean, look at the Purple Fruit Planet people.
Which was already mentioned in the chat earlier.
I'm just going to say David.
From our faithful listeners. Thank you. Yeah, the purple fruit was already mentioned once tonight. And yeah, you're right, JT and everybody. But this is a little bit of a warmongering type of thing. I'm not a forward type person anyway. It doesn't matter. This character is straight up saying, before we get there, we just need to go down there and crush their ass.
It's really too bad they gave Dr. Z this haircut, because if they gave gray hair, I would give Dr. Z more of a Sean Connery type voice.
Yes. Definitely. Yes. We've got to go down there. Kick their bloody asses.
Yes.
Dr. Z.
Yeah, and remember, Z did say he was an old man. So we're going with the he, right? Because this looks like a girl. Kind of.
Sort of.
I
like gave up trying to figure out Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I
from
thought it was a
Unimatrix
female. I
Zero.
didn't bother me.
From
Could care if it was a
Unimatrix
female or
Zero.
yeah, I didn't care either way. But they said it's a he. So.
JT got what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could care less if it was a guy or a girl. But look at the hands.
You're
You
so
got some,
progressive, Dave.
I know. Well, you got to go back.
The hands are good
not
there,
that
but
much.
the hands are
Do
good
you have
there.
a
but the
hand,
next
hand
frame.
fetish?
No. Well, if you're
Well,
going to do
in the
them, you got to
next
do them
frame,
right.
they're god awful, by the way. So just scroll down a little bit and you'll see how terrible they are.
Yeah. Got a good mustache and hair for you, JT. This guy here, gray hair.
If they have man hands, that's a warning sign.
Yes, Blood Waters of Dr. Z. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah, I watch a lot of the Venture Brothers as well and Johnny Quest in the past too. So the whole Dr. Z thing is hilarious.
So they're like, wait, so we spent how many decades looking for Earth?
Well, how many, guys? Does it say, Gap?
No.
I mean, you know, I think Gap
No.
knows, and I'm sure people like some people in the Buddy or Phantom have said they have read this as well.
The end of the second,
But does it tell you where they
the
are?
end of the second book, it gives you a hint.
It
I
does
didn't
give you a
ca-
hint, but I think Dave, you need to read that.
I missed them. I must have missed it or didn't write that down about the second book. We'll get to it hopefully
Yep.
tonight because we're having a lot of fun with just this short one. All right.
Okay, so
the
if you
council
wanna
and them are what arguing, discussing.
They're like, wait, we spent 20 years waiting for the new Camaro and it only has 100 horsepower? What the?
Yeah, we still can't get a
Basically.
V6 to get 40 miles per gallon.
I still can't believe it's not butter, is basically what this other guy is thinking.
Look, Buddy Hepburn's a Cylon. He
Oh,
recognized Brandenburg Concerto number 2 on the disc. Anyway, foreshadowing. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, the chat's on fire tonight. We've got a lot of people here. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
They're
As
basically
always.
they're basically going through here and just talking themselves in to just how much better they are and how they need to go in and just dominate entire planet of people.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, no, we're not going to do that. If they're primitives, like Z is saying, then maybe you send out like a welcome committee, a shuttle with maybe 1 or 2 Vipers, kind of slowly. And
Maybe you send
We'll
a
get to
radio
that.
transmission.
But I like the argument
Maybe.
here, right? I
A
mean, there's
scout
sociological.
party.
Yeah, something. And of course, Adam is absolutely and totally against that. So I was glad to see that.
I would personally recommend landing somewhere in Montana. Just
yeah,
seems to work well.
because what happened, I totally was just like, oh, this is totally.
Well, we might
but-
meet the Vulcans if we land there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
while they're out on a camping trip.
The one issue, well, not the one issue. I do have an issue here saying, no, I didn't travel billions of light yards to conquer other humans. Billions?
Yes, calculate that. That's more than 20 RN.
Yeah, isn't a Yaren? Well, it's a year.
A year.
Yeah, so
So they
billions of light
traveled
years.
billions of light years.
It's a little much.
But remember how old Dylan and Boxy is, or
Well,
Trey.
yeah. So Z's trying to convince the council. Adama's against it. And Adama's like, no, man, we can't go in there and kick ass. I mean, that's just crazy.
Mhm.
And Z is trying to convince them by changing the verbiage from conquering to colonizing. And you can argue about that word all you want, but I'm just saying that's what Z's trying to tone it down. But I get this feeling about Z, whether Z's right or wrong is irrelevant at this point because we don't know, right? That this is not what Obama's going to go for. You can't just because I'm always going to go back to this thing about Z saying, well, if they're so primitive, what are you so scared about that you have to go down there and just crush a whole planet right away? That would only be for somebody who was like way better than you, and you're worried that they're going to take you over if you show up, right?
Mhm.
So it was a little odd that he was talking down the planet so badly, but that you would have to use such force to, just take over the planet as soon as you get there. And then Adama uses the slave word, which was kind of making his point.
I just want to put it out there. The Milky Way is 100,000 light years across, not billions. And the Andromeda Galaxy is 2.5 million light years away.
Okay, so they're off a little bit, JT.
By a couple billion.
Sure. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who's counting? Who's counting? Adama, apparently, but
Adama counting. Well, you got to remember, what just happened with him. His mindset here went from that what happened earlier to trying to defend Earth with this. I'm not going to say what this character kind of reminds me here of with this kind of talk, but I think you get where I might be coming from. A little bit of tinge of something that happened in the past with that kind of talk, but
with a count,
yeah, or with a yeah, kind of.
I've been known by Lucifer Mephistopheles.
Yeah, well, they argue JT is something that JT brought up in the old comics book is kind of wasting time with arguments over 3, 4, 5 pages. This kind of goes on for a while, right, guys?
It does go on
for
a while because I'm counting how many pages till I get the point I'm going to have a hissy fit on.
Well, in my whole thing, when they said they were going to colonize the planet, I thought that meant they were just going to land all their pods and blend in and call it a day. But that's not what they're going to do. That's not what they're going to do at all.
Okay, why are they listening to Z then? The council's listening to Z. So did Adama lose his power?
Well, that would be something that JT and I always talked about on the other comic as well. Something I always hated, that nobody on that council until like the very end, and only one of them ever came to back him up, at least straight to his face. It only happened one time that I remember in the old comics.
Well,
and that always pissed me off.
They've been in space for many, many years. They were politicians before that, so they're probably about as old as the U.S. Senate at this point, and they know they're going to get reelected no matter what. So, shit, why not?
I mean, they're set.
It's not that hard to imagine that. Yeah.
So,
exactly.
But that. And I kind of liked having that frustration again. Kind of was a little bit of an homage to the original series. But we get to meet one of our fan favorites. And we think for just a second, it's not who you might have thought it was, like I did. Because I didn't watch the show. Where it's been decades, right? It's been yarns since I've seen the show. So we get to see.
So you just assume, like I did, that this is Colonel Ty.
Well, absolutely. He's an officer. He's in a command uniform. He's not in a colonial uniform, right? You noticed that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why this tech guy is wearing that. Maybe it's a bridge type of thing. But the tech guy by the monitor, and we can't see the monitor, damn it. I always like looking at monitors. But there's a nice monitor shot down here in the bottom behind. Dun, dun, dun. It's not Ty. It's Boomer. Yeah. So congrats, Boomer. You got promoted. Love to see that, right? He earned it. But Boomer's around and other people aren't. Right, Cap?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, for me, I'm thinking, I kind of know, but I didn't want to know because I wanted to read the comic. And I'm like, So do I go back to the thing like you guys mentioned, or you especially got that they should have done a little background before the comic, or are they going to do it later? I think somebody mentioned to give away a lot more later. So I had to bite my lip
Well,
with that
yeah, but
and just say, let's see what they're gonna do, right? And then
yeah,
judgment later. Got to give them a chance.
boy, will we judge later.
Yes, we shall. So congrats, Boomer. You know, dude, awesome. And you get a bunch of monitors down here to satisfy me. So they're just talking on the bridge about what's going on. Boomers. I'm sorry. I'm going to scroll back up. He did say there was something important here. No, it's
No, well,
just
yeah,
art talk.
Keep going down.
Did I miss
going
something
down.
about what they said up here?
Let's just say we found Earth. The thing here, this last cell on the right, this frame, I don't know why they had a kindergartner paint the word Galactica on the side of their Battlestar.
I'm glad it wasn't just me, and it's not in red.
Is that a L? Galactica?
Yeah, pretty much. The other thing on this.
Well, it's better than the one frame from the last issue we saw, or the one issue where the Galactica didn't even fit and it had all the space to the left. Remember that one, JT?
Now this is a nerd. This is a nerd comment. I would have liked them to have said set course flank speed for Earth.
Nice.
Anyway, flank speed. That's what they used to say. Well, frack it.
For all the mistakes that they might have made, okay, for all of the blunders, for all of the faux pas, they're smarter than a one Alex Hillary Kurtzman, because they have figured out that sound, in fact, does not travel in space. And when I read that, I said, someone should have told. Never mind. This is going to turn into a 10-minute rant against Star Trek Discovery. We're doing BSG today. So.
We could do a 2 hour and have like 20 people on the panel to discuss this one line here in this panel.
Yeah, you knew. You knew.
Galactica to JT. Galactica to JT. Get back in formation.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not 90 proofed on ambrosia this evening.
Not
all
yet.
the time, right? Like Archer and his mom.
Anyway,
yeah. So I like these little panels of art that they do well. This Galactica is comparable or better, but I'm focused on the time and distance, like I always like to do with art out in space. I like this shot of the Galactica kind of dipping away, although they reused that planet, and that's where they are, I guess. All these planets there. What do you think about the trailing ships? They're just kind of jotted in there, but
I'm surprised they made it that far.
Does the Galactica really only have one flight hangar left, or did they just not finish drawing it?
They stopped finish drawing it.
They didn't finish drawing it. It looks weird.
Yeah, it's at that angle. It's just like we'll put some shade. But the back end of it's good. They really like to focus on the blasters. That blue is brilliant. I love that blue.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with those Vipers at the beginning of this. And you could tell they thought a lot about
Is anyone else?
Dave, are you Mr. Roboto? Come on, Bato.
Yeah.
Dave is Mr. Roboto. Tomokata.
Yeah, he totally roboted out.
Yeah, what did I do?
I don't know. The North American Aerospace Defense Command was jamming you.
Yes. Did I miss something? Are you guys just...
Oh no, for a good 30 seconds there, no one could hear anything you said. You went to like 2 frames a second and
for real?
Voice.
Yeah.
Am I good now?
You're back.
And then
Oh,
I
that's
went,
what Buddy was saying. Boomer Sooner. Okay, my bad.
and then I said, "Como bato, Mr. Dave Roboto."
Oh, now I get it. Okay, I didn't know. They were saying in the chat, Boomer Sooner, and I was like, what's going on?
So so then we make a hard cut, right?
Very hard cut.
A very hard cut to the North American Aerospace Defense Command. Now, why do they call it that over and over again?
I don't know.
We all know on this panel, and probably everybody in the chat, that in 1980, this is just NORAD.
NORAD, yeah.
This is just NORAD.
Yeah.
And yet they call it the North American Aerospace Defense Command, which
Were they worried
doesn't
about
have an R
copyright?
in it. There's no R in it. Well, no. If you
They
scroll
could have
down,
said,
if you scroll down later on, they specifically say NORAD.
"Yep."
So which is it, guys?
Well, continuity.
I'm surprised they know what Mach.
Yeah, in 19. I mean, would they be able to measure just 1 times 3 times? Or, if it was they must have broke Mach 1, right, in 1980?
Well, 1980, the SR-71's been flying around for over a decade.
Yeah.
And the space shuttle, there have been Mach 3 aircraft at this point. Is the space shuttle around in 1980?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I want to say.
I'm trying to remember. My memory of when it was just a test bed and all that is not great.
Yeah, I would have only been around 11. Then
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember when the bad things happened, when that happened, what grade I was in. I'm going to say yes.
Well, Challenger was 86.
So, yes, because they had been flying for a while.
And the space shuttle goes far faster than Mach 3. Far faster than Mach 3.
And you know what? I wish they hadn't grounded that. That's a good little ship. And they could make Space 1999 Eagles that could fly around the planet right now.
That they never run out of, even though 4 of them blow up every other episode.
Now, with the number of habitable planets they've flown into and planets with atmosphere and all the rest, we're flying through air. Actual unfiltered, unprocessed, honest to goodness, breathable air. I can't believe it. Well, maybe if you got off the bottle for 2 seconds, you would have realized that you've flown in atmosphere
several
times before.
Well, these guys would have been kids. Well, we know one of them is a kid, but they've been on several planets that had air, right? Mm-hmm. Especially Purple Guy in the fruit. They could breathe on that one, right? If I remember correctly.
Oh my God, the Purple Guy in the
Dr. X. I can't remember that doctor's name. Who they totally abandoned everybody and left and didn't bother to try.
All right, from here on out, the rest of this first issue pisses me off.
Oh yes, I 100% agree.
Yeah,
100%. So they're doing nonsense here on the flight, right? They're just talking to each other. The landing zone that they pick is on the next page.
Yeah, and I'm kind of holding off on it because I was going to talk about how I don't know which one this is, Troy or Dylan in the middle here. Such a great helmet.
Does it matter? I mean,
well, yeah, it doesn't matter until later. But anyway, get your head out of the clouds, kind of. These Earthers are barbarians. And I'm like, where are you getting your information from?
Z.
They should just fry it, Dave. Just fry it.
What do you, yeah, I mean, what do you think there you have? So a lot of the things that we talked about is continuity, sci-fi, time and space, spacing, and the other ones would be common sense, right, JT? On the other ones in Gap, and people in the chat who followed it, that when JT brought up the part about especially the fruit planet, they didn't scan it, or the planet that was alive. Remember that one of JT's favorites?
Yes.
They didn't do any kind of scanning on Earth before they just show up. They don't do any kind of I'm kind of like, what the F are they talking about? Why do they keep saying crap like they're barbarian? They don't have any kind of try to communicate before they do this.
Yeah, you're led to believe that they go at best speed available, straight to Earth.
Uh-huh.
Don't make sure that any Cylons are on their tail.
Uh-uh.
Don't try to make contact in orbit.
Nope.
Maybe go to
Bingo.
the International Space Station. Well, in the 80, they didn't
With
have
all
one,
the
but
satellites and stuff that
near-
were still out there in 80,
Yeah.
that were out there, right? We did land on the moon in 69, for Christ's sake.
No, we didn't. I'm just kidding.
Okay, Michael Moore.
Capricorn 1. Anyway.
No, that's funny.
So,
though.
you know, they made no like cautious attempts to contact any of the world governments to be like, you know, take me to your leader. We don't want to shock everybody, and you're so primitive. We want to make sure you know it, right?
Okay.
They don't do any of that. They just
why did-
barbarians. They're barbarians, guys.
pop into
But-
orbit, launch the fighters.
But,
Yeah,
you know, they should have used the V'ger disc to communicate. That was the point of the disc. So
Yes.
I would have sent a transmission, and then I would have sent a shuttle with Adama and, you know,
Exactly.
and,
Exactly. So
No,
Troy and Dylan.
You
for
could have even
you
just
know,
played the music back to them.
is there anybody in that show, in this comic, in the council, or anybody would have said, you know, you guys kind of talking like they're cavemen here, but they were at least smart enough to build a probe and send it into space? And nobody's commenting on
My
that.
whole thing is, why are you sending down the military in fighter jets?
Well, like I said,
meet
a
these
shuttle with
people.
maybe one fighter pilot as just
A shuttle with not a
Oh, wait a
Dom.
minute. Don't.
no, absolutely
So-
not.
If the Vipers could go invisible, why couldn't the shuttle go invisible?
Oh, that was yeah.
It did.
All I'm saying
The
is,
Vipers did go invisible when they hit it on one of the Galactica 1980 shows.
But none of it makes any sense. None of
you're
it.
sending down Colonel Boomer, 3 members of the council, and like 4 Viper pilots for security, and you're sending them down in a transport ship.
With a translator.
Yes, in the some part of V'ger with you. That's what you take. How hard is that to like come up with that? No, we're sending fighter pilots to something that didn't even spend time studying. We're just like, nope, going right down there with Vipers. Why not? We're gonna send our best alcoholics to hang out with them.
Yeah. It's that upset me about the discipline and stuff like that already. But this part here, and Gap, I get it, and I think we're all in agreement. This makes
No sense. This pisses
thank
me
you.
off.
we said it verbatim, and it pissed me off too because it's not like, because we're judging this comic from 2009, but common sense. It's anyway. I don't know, and people in chat are saying, yeah, I doubt it. This would happen. Now, what does happen might have happened, but the way they approach the planet, knowing that these people were smart enough to set up, I don't know why the writers would keep saying barbarians and all this kind of crap. It's stupid, really. Really, it's kind of insulting, really.
Unless somebody has gotten to Dr. Z
Yeah, the Russians.
Yeah.
and or the
Those
count or the Russian council, and oh, I can't wait till you get past these panels.
So decent illustration of the White House.
Yes,
The
decent.
White
Decent
House looks good.
illustration of the Oval Office. Now, what's NORAD saying? POTUS says
Who's NORAD?
right there. It's the North American Aerospace, whatever they said.
It's Russians.
Then-
It's
no,
the
then-
aliens.
Then the general here says, we've got 2 F-15 Strike Eagles inbound to that location. Dave, what year is this in the comic?
1980.
And What year
It's
did the
supposed to
first
be 1980.
F-15? Yeah, a Strike Eagle is an F-15E. What was the first year an F-15E Strike Eagle first flew?
Oh, that
Was it the late 60s, early 70s?
1986.
Yeah, no, that later, way later than 80.
Later.
Yeah,
Okay.
F-15s didn't come out till later. I'm not a big
Well,
airplane
no,
guy, but I
F-15, the early F-15 and F-15 CDs came out earlier. The F-15E Strike Eagle came out later because they wanted an air-to-ground capability.
wow.
But they did not fly until 86. So they made a mistake there. Also, you wouldn't send Strike Eagles inbound because this is an air-to-air interdiction mission.
Oh, okay.
So you wouldn't be sending E's anyway. So big mistake there.
Yes, especially on this panel. Why is it the first? Both sides have screwed up. You should communicate with each other before you go to freaking damn DEFCON 4. Sorry, Mr. President.
You think?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of a war hawk, so.
Well,
but even you aren't like, jumping to.
Well, it's a military movie trope where the general sits in this whole room and there's always that one military guy. It's like, oh, just nuke them. You know what I mean? It's a movie type thing. You got to have that guy. That's all it is. They put this guy in here to antagonize the president, antagonize the people. But But they all just go for it, though, don't they?
That looks like Dr. Z.
They just do. It is really kind of funny, Dave, how they're like, yep. And they're like, is this a MiG that the Russians made that we don't know about?
Is that the president saying that, right?
Right? Yeah, but we don't see we don't see what is coming towards them until we get past one more panel. So
it's really boy.
So
yeah, this comic is going off the rails here.
Russians, and then the next pane. Where's the call to Brezhnev? Getting the Soviet runaround, sir. So I mean, I guess the whole Soviet Union's giving them the runaround, but they're trying to just call the Russians. Yeah, this strikes me of just maybe a young writer and young editors that maybe didn't live as an adult through any of 1980.
I don't get it, because it's like if the president of the United States calls Russia at 3 a.m. and the president wants to talk to the president, that would have been Gorbachev or
Brezhnev.
Brezhnev, right? Sorry, I'm showing my age a little. Yeah, they even.
Oh, they're failing in Afghanistan quite substantially at this point.
We sent Rambo over there and kicked their ass. But they are after he got but
and we had
they're like, oh, it's 3 a.m. over there. He's not going to answer. Yeah, okay. I don't know if somebody.
They're going to wake his ass up.
Wake him the F up is what I would have said. Yeah, wake him the frack up. What the hell are you talking about? If I was president and I had an enemy country calling me at 3 a.m, I think I'd get up and take the damn call.
Now, my thing is he saying to go to DEFCON 4?
Go back. He did straight to DEFCON 4.
When they are thinking DEFCON 4 is closer to war than DEFCON 3?
I was a little confused on what they're talking about here.
I thought DEFCON 1 was like the nukes are leaving the silos, right?
Yeah. It is.
It is
4 at this point.
Yeah, and look how these Secret Service agents are reacting.
Also, the general calls the president sire. The general calls the president sire. He's got 5 stars on his shoulders, and I'm like, "What? You talking to Sire Yuri with your 5 stars?"
It's a typical.
Anyway, I'm picking this damn thing apart, Gap. You didn't like it for the same reasons. That,
please rip it, because I am just gonna. I'm telling you, from this section on, I'm holy hell pissed off.
Yeah, well, look how these agents are acting. Especially, they're a little out of control. Remind you of something? Wink, wink. But where are the rest? They come in with their guns.
Like
they're all got
going to go to the roof of Nakatomi Tower.
Yeah, all their guns are drawn.
Look, my blaster. My blaster will beat your gun.
But no Secret Service agent's going to bust into the Oval Office, guns drawn, when the threat's not landed like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Well,
all of them. Every last one of them have their guns
Every
drawn.
last one of them pointed
If
at
you
the
scroll-
ceiling too.
And
Not
this
at the
guy's got his
floor, at the
finger on the
ceiling.
trigger.
Yeah. Inside the trigger guard. On all
Inside
of
the
them.
trigger guard. Yeah.
Yep.
So they go grab him, and the president's even like, "What? Let go of me, you like, you dumbass! What are you doing?" And he's just like grabs the president, throws him to the window. So you're there to protect. Well, I guess the president breaks free and goes to the window, and then it gets really bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, dun, dun, look where the Battlestar Galactica is, everybody! Wow.
Why?
Hey, Prez.
Why? Why?
Why?
DoorDash, we got your order.
Like, but for
Uber
for
rides
all-
here.
What are we doing?
No
This
idea,
is
man.
the stupidest. Like, when I saw this, I said, "Oh, this is stupid."
Oh, I know the chat's
This
gonna go on
is-
fire.
Well,
with
I
this
had
one,
some
dude.
choice expletives for this.
Well,
I straight up said, "What the
also-
fuck is this?"
There we
I'm
go.
not
There we
monetized,
go.
Cap. I literally saw this, and I don't.
all
and
right,
if somebody
they
likes
were-
it.
this-
I'm not mad at you. I might have to
Okay,
explain
this
why.
this
but-
was fucking fracking fucked up. The fuck are they
It-
thinking? Oh yeah,
So
let
now
me just
this
sail
this
on
panel. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Gap. Go.
in.
Go for
Let
it.
me just sail on into an ugly looking warehouse. A warehouse. Oh, that's the White House. It doesn't really look that good. But I was like, what the fuck? You're just gonna drop in?
With your whole military.
Yeah, I know. The
That's your
chat's gonna
whole military.
tear this
all
apart.
at once. All at once.
This
Can I-
I didn't
this
know-
is just.
Can the Galactica actually just hover?
Well,
Like,
I'm
if you
assuming it can. I'm assuming that it can.
if
that
it
was-
was
but-
if it was a reimagined one, yeah, it could go into.
Adama would not have done this because that freaking little shithead Z said so. He was like, no.
Exactly.
It
How
wouldn't have
dare you.
happened.
How dare you talk to an old man like this?
I mean, these guys are calling Americans the barbarians here. They're the ones that show up with their entire military right at the seat of government basically for the entire planet. And you don't expect them to construe that as a threat?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like-
Adama would not have allowed this to happen with their only, whether he thought they were, well, first of all, the whole thing about them not scanning it, not making communicate. We already established that none of that would have happened. So this doesn't surprise me. Well, after I thought about it for a long time, right? Because I only read this like 7:00, and after like 30 minutes, I was like, oh boy, this is going to be good tonight.
Now, Dave, let's just say that the island of Atlantis mysteriously just surfaced all of a sudden. And the president of the United States said, oh, they're kind of primitive. Let's go say hello. And he just brings the entire U.S. Marine Corps with him. It just shows up on the island.
Yeah.
Storms the beaches. How do you think they're going to react on that Atlantis island? Probably not well.
Not well at all. You know, you have one or two guys for just in case you could run away, but it's an old trope of how do you handle it when the aliens show up, right? Well, my point
Well, I
is,
can tell you what you
aliens
do.
could have done this, but Adama was already fist pumping, slamming adamant against Z, and then he does this. Wouldn't have happened. That's why I was so mad.
I can tell you what you don't do, Dave. You don't go quietly into the night. You don't give up without a fight. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
and you
move
don't-
on from that. and
Oh,
Secret
here
Service
we
are
go.
running around with their head cut off.
Get
still,
me the football.
and they still haven't got him out of the window that they're so concerned about him getting. Yeah, and there you go, Gap and JT. There's your DEFCON 1 immediately.
Is that supposed to be Jimmy
Immediately.
Carter? Is that supposed to be Carter?
Ah,
Well, if it is, he would have asked to release the hostages first. Oh,
Oh no.
wow. Nice. Yeah, I mean, with the year, yeah, it's just
I'm
these
sorry.
guys are still they're standing around with their guns drawn. They can't even move them away from the damn window. And this motherfucker wants to go to DEFCON 1 without saying, "Hold on a second, let's just take a damn breath. They're not shooting at us. What the hell? Let's figure out what the heck's going on." Now, screw that. Just let's go launch nukes right away.
Do we know what they look like?
1,000 feet above us. DEFCON 1 to who?
To the Galactica.
Well, dun dun dun.
Okay, I want
get a
this
break.
whole
Yeah.
entire panels read. The first two.
Yeah,
Right
and,
here.
We get some kind of bad art here, guys. I don't
How
know that
long?
guy's face.
How long? That's what she
Centons.
said.
67 centons since we took up position over their capital.
1 minute and 7 seconds?
And no
Or is that-
communications.
Or
Have we
centon is-
tried? Colonel, Commander, I'm reading an unidentified object closing in on position. Well, how come you didn't answer? Did we try to communicate with them first? And God forgive me, Z was right. Z was right about what?
Well, right about what? He wasn't right.
Well,
Yeah.
he will, but he will
Until
be
you
right
see
in
the-
a wrong kind of way until you see the
Boom.
panel.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
All
more
right.
shit here.
All right. That
And-
fucking pissed the shit out of me on this.
This is the America fuck yeah frame.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Wait a minute.
With the
How
flag
come
and everything.
The bombs bursting in air. You know.
Adama, ray shield, negative shield. Why didn't the Galactica have their defenses up? Why didn't any warnings go off at the heat signature of a missile? Where was the missile launched from that
Well-
it got that fast, that close? Where did it come from? Why didn't you have shields up? It pissed me off.
Yeah. I'm reading an unidentified object. Yeah, it's a missile, you dumbass. He doesn't scream
Right.
out, incoming. Or like Athena used to say, we got 1,000 damn Cylons coming in on our ass. Remember how she used to say that? They're like,
And
how
look-
many? A lot.
Look how they conveniently strike at the neck of the Galactica. Right at the neck.
And are we all not in agreement as to
Well,
say
it's a
that
nuke.
you're shooting a thing? How big is the Galactica compared to the White House? Dwarfs it.
Dwarfs it.
Dwarfs it. Absolutely.
But they
the
nuked
Battlestar
it
is huge.
allegedly, right?
And they nuked it 1,000 feet right above you, over the
Now,
public, over
I'll
DC,
mention.
in DC.
I'll mention if you airburst that, there ain't going to be any buildings.
Well,
within,
Thank you.
like,
Thank
I
you.
worked.
Thank you.
miles.
I worked. I pulled over on the east side there, up on 6th Street, every day when I drove to work. Right over the Capitol. Right, the White House
Yeah.
is a little farther away down on Pennsylvania. The size of the Galactica, it's a nuke. It's in DC, and nobody thought to say, "Yeah, we're not doing this."
What day did they land? Because this is like the Capitol is where the back of the ship was.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say
Was
something.
Was it in January?
It
I
conveniently
wonder.
lands on the White House lawn, so it
I
didn't
was
hit.
gonna- I was
it
gonna
didn't
say
hit.
something inappropriate.
We'll just go down. Yeah, so it falls down into the White
And the
House
president
lawn, which
shouts
isn't.
out, "The results were certified." Because he needs a line, right?
We're so symbiotic, JT. I was just thinking that.
Yeah,
He needed a diehard line there.
needed
Dave,
a
so
definitely.
That
Definitely.
was the line that he picked. Anyway,
God.
Oh, I gotta go get my rum now, man, because I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is just so bad.
God, forgive me.
Now let me ask you this, Gap, and whoever's still
Uh-huh.
watching out there, compare this scene. I'm gonna scroll back up. All right. Compare the
Mhm.
Galactica getting shot right above the White House, right? Or in
Mhm.
front of the White House.
And then
In
it's
DC,
further away from the
during
White
the
House.
daytime, people are probably at work, unless it's a Saturday. Who cares? And that means there's more tourists in town,
well,
right?
yes.
Right there.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
You'd
Oh,
actually
yes.
probably kill more people.
Yeah.
And compare this to the show. Just because I had determined I was going to at least ask you this if you came on, or even in the chat. I want to know what the show did here. I don't remember. Is it completely different?
Well, for one, they didn't blow the Galactica.
That's what I kind of remembered. They didn't. So this is a complete departure from the TV.
Well, you could say
Movie.
that from page 1.
Yeah. So what I was going to point out that after this happened, Adama is still alive, right?
Yes, barely.
Yeah,
Goes.
he's crawling through. And how old is he now?
Shoot, he's got to be in his
90s.
90s.
He's got to be in his 90s. But their physiology, don't they wouldn't they live longer than a regular human being? Maybe.
Yes, they do.
They did, right? I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the comics or somehow they live a little bit longer. Not that
well,
much
and
longer,
the
but a
purple
little bit.
fruit was clean living. So
Yes, it was cleaned you out from what I heard.
Now,
and then of course you get my busted
and then
monitor.
In this right here, I was going to say, is that a Tandy? A Tandy 1000?
It is. No, it's Atari.
No, I was like, my God, not the monitor. So,
oh my God, you guys remember those monitors? Oh my God.
Yeah, they're so primitive, but we're using CRT tubes in our anyway.
So Adama's pretty much crawling around on his last no legs here. Crazy, but he's getting a little religious, which is fine. He's a religious dude. Very religious dude.
But they're polytheists. And then he starts quoting, and the Lord said unto him, this is land which I swore unto Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, saying, I will give it to thy descendants. I will let you see it with your eyes, but you shall not go over there. And it's a quote from Deuteronomy that they finish with here. And I'm like, why?
With Moses. And then he finished off, with the Moses quote.
Why? Because the book he was using, the ancient texts, would not have been the Bible. So
would not have been talking about Moses. No,
right.
He wouldn't have known anything about Moses, right?
Well, one would think.
No, well, let's clarify it.
That's
I mean,
true.
seriously.
That's true.
He would know who Moses is.
Well, yeah, you would think he would, because wouldn't it would be they would only know what the Lords of Cobalt had written, right?
But the character name of Moses would not have been known to Adama is to name him as Moses. To say maybe Moses.
Moses was
the guiding
light.
Yeah. I see what you're saying there, guys.
Although it's a big stretch.
I still call it shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Well, as JT and I did not do for a few of the issues at first, we went back and started doing a lot of the Stanley Soapbox and some of the letters, which I think were quite entertaining toward the end, right, JT?
Mm-hmm.
And so to get a little bit, and Gap just answered my question, I just wanted to get your take on it with the Galactica blowing up like that this first paragraph here at the top above the Ask Dynamite, they self-quote that this is one of the most controversial series in sci-fi's history that is being back. Some fans love it. Some fans hate it.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing is for certain, Guggenheim is going to do 1980 the right way. And I'm thinking, what? Not so far.
Bullshit.
Absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
JT, what do you think about that statement?
Pretty much.
So we're all in agreement.
Yep.
Lives will be lost, and here's the answer to what I'd asked you. The reimagining. So I'll say, okay, now I get it. But do we have to lose common effing sense over reimagining? None of that shit that happened at the end of this comic would have happened.
You must.
None of it.
You must.
And sci-fi fans would have been ranting way more than what we're doing if they had been doing this, right? I can only imagine what Raquel or Clobby or any of them would have, because Clobby liked the original comics issues. I would have loved to have heard him talk about what he saw in the last couple pages of this one,
right?
Based only on sci-fi.
But remember,
we only got 4 issues.
But remember, this is the first time they've ever done Galactica 1980 in comics.
You are correct. But there was something that JT and I always talked about when we really got mad. Issue 14. It's common sense when you insult the characters to the point that it goes against lore. I mean, it absolutely is not, because JT and I are open to reimagining. Go for it, because what we always said is, let's see what you got.
Okay,
well, we'll either like it or we'll hate it, but don't fucking insult us with this bullshit.
That's what I said. They should have filled. I think they'll probably fill in a little bit, but of not the characters we wish that we sought out, because this whole issue has been an effing fracking train wreck.
Well, definitely at the end.
So say we all.
So say we all.
And I know it's already been an hour and 46, so I don't think we're going to do the second issue tonight, guys.
You don't think so? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I was yakking too much.
No, absolutely not.
We
dude.
were
That's why
having fun.
I wanted you on here. I wanted you to say your piece. We're all in agreement. Only a couple of people in the chat. I hope Buddy still there.
Buddy's still there. Yeah.
And whoever's there, I didn't see anybody say goodnight, so maybe they're lurking. I hope. I hope we didn't get too rough on it. That's just the way we feel about this issue.
What do you mean? I hope we didn't get too rough on it. You're being too nice.
Yeah. Well, if you remember issue 14, right?
Yes, I held back.
I'm not. JT and I we talked about it, and I literally said to JT, "That's just fucking insulting to me, man. As a person, that is ridiculous. I can't even imagine." And then I would have thought that it came up. Well, you can't do that to the kid. I said, well, then don't write that shit. Don't even don't even put that kid in that situation with the radiation like this right here, with the Galactica being reimagined as being shot down by some overzealot president who would have never shot a nuke over his own city or directly above his own city.
And inferior technology. Where were the shields?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where was the red alert? Where is incoming, we detect, nukes give off signatures. So why couldn't the Galactica's more advanced? So why didn't they detect a nuclear discharge,
Yeah. And you parked it so close. It wouldn't have, they saw it incoming, but didn't have time to get out of the way.
Wait,
right?
did not the Galactica blow up nukes over a planet? Wait a minute. Oh, yes, they did.
Yeah, they did, dude.
Remember you remember they both sides shot their nukes, and the Galactic came in and shot this green beam and blew them all up. Where was that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to read the. I didn't read the letters of the second one. I was going to save it because I thought we'd go through 2. But I think this is good interest. We'll do 2 and 3, and then say 4 the next week, and maybe do talk about the show or something. We'll work something out, Gap, JT.
I appreciate you having me, and I'm sorry I told you.
No,
in the
dude. Have you not watched us?
I know, but I mean, your future Christmas gift, I almost threw it in the trash because when I got to the Galactica getting hit by a nuke, I was just like, I am done with you
Listen.
people, but I've got to read issue 2.
Yeah, well, I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I can't wait for Gap. I was like, I can't wait for Phantom and Buddy and whoever else shows up to comment on this, man. We missed a few comments on that. I think they might have dipped out on us. And that's okay too. I love that everybody shows up. I hope it hasn't turned off the audience for next week. I hope they come back just to listen to us.
Oh, they'll be fine.
Yeah,
They'll be fine.
Oh yeah,
They want to see more Soviets.
Yeah, blame the
comments.
Russians and the Iranians.
Yes, and we want to see some more. We want to see an introduction of a character that we know before.
Sure, and for the political timing, and me growing up through that, being young at that time, well, sort of young. Well, yeah, teenage, not even teenager yet. So yeah, and
you forgot. Sorry.
The whole Iranian thing and all that, that's fine. I didn't blame the Russians. I see it. I was like, oh, I could see that coming. They're all sitting around the White House. Hey, we got these aliens showing up. But what happened is we're all in total agreement several times here. It was beyond ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like Gap. It would, if it wasn't for the show, I would have been, or for you, I probably would have said, JT, fuck, let's just get through these next issues. This sucks, and just make fun of it.
Well, we can.
We're going to cross our fingers to hope it gets better. But I don't know how. With Dr. Z rampaging little Yahtzee to begin with, let's colonize. You know what I mean? Dr. Evil type shit going on.
Yes, and
I'm like, fuck, dude, where is this heading?
Who does Dr. Z really represent?
Yeah. And it was mentioned in the chat. We'll get some background characterization on him. Maybe a little, I didn't see it at the end of 2. Did you guys?
No. So it's got to be. It's got to be in the 3rd or 4th. I didn't go any farther past 2, but it was not in number 2 at all.
Maybe it was either Phantom or Buddy, or somebody said, and I might have misread it. It might be 3 or 4. But somebody in the chat did mention you will get some kind of background stuff, and I imagine that we will. You're not right. I mean, they're not going to be so. Well, obviously, this little Z character is going to try to be some kind of freaking overlord type of thing. But my question is, didn't he go down with the ship?
Mm-hmm.
A little things for number 2. There's some shit that starts right off at number 2 that makes no sense. But anyway,
yes,
for everybody out there, we're gonna do number 2 and maybe probably number 3 next week, right? Gap? JT?
Yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
Okay.
Now I feel bad for suggesting Galactica.
No, dude, we're on 2 hours.
I know.
No, dude, it's a 4. Who cares, dude? This is what I'm doing. The next thing that JT and I are probably going to do will either be about 20 issues, or I have some other ideas on maybe a Sam and Twitch. Do you guys know those characters from Spawn, the detectives?
No.
Yeah, a lot of people who know Spawn, it's the detectives that were in the series that is spin-off of their own comics. There were 3 different series. One I didn't like at all. The art was terrible. I didn't like the writing. But 2 of them, it's a detective series, so something a little bit different. Maybe we can get some Spawn fans out there. It doesn't really relate to Spawn. It's their own spin-off, right?
Yeah.
And or maybe the original Black Panther. We can do some old school stuff again. I think a lot of people would like to revisit that one. We'd get a lot of comments, a lot of fans that would probably show up. But I was all in on the 1980 because it followed up on the original. JT, I mean, right? I mean, it had been so long since I even really thought about it. And so it's an excellent idea, dude. And I'm glad you're here. And hopefully you can come back for the other issues too. Definitely want you to come back. So I'm going to probably wrap it up when we'll get final thoughts, although I know what they're going to be. Gap, what do you got for this first one, man?
Oh,
Just wrap it
jeez.
up without, because we already know kind of how
Okay.
you feel.
I'm not thrilled at the opening salvo. That's all I'll say.
Phrasing. Sure.
I kept it short.
Yeah, well, I'll lead him into a little bit. What do you, as far as the art's concerned, and it's a totally different style. We've got 2009 to 1970s, so much different, hand drawn to obviously hand drawn, but way different technology and stuff like that. So you kind of have to be judgmental based on those factors. I saw good and bad, right? We didn't really harp on a lot of the bad. Didn't see too many bad. Just a couple of frames here and there that are like, ugh, geez.
I think it was like it started off really good art wise, and then kind of dip, and then kind of trying to get back up.
Yeah, I felt that a couple of the panes were kind of got bad towards the end. Some faces there, glob face, right, JT?
Yes, and the Galactica mistakes that they had.
Yeah. So, Gab, I would never ask for grading, but if you like doing that, it's up to you. You can pass on the grade, just say it's crap or not. That's what I do sometimes. But for fans, I'll do grading. What do you got?
I'll give it a 5.5.
5.5 out of 10. All right. So JT, overall, what do you got?
I give this an okay consideration on the art, maybe like a B- for art. If I'm just kind of thinking about some of the mistakes they made with the Galactica that they should not have made.
Should not have made. Yes, that's
the cover art was beautiful. It was attention grabbing and just had a lot going on. And I appreciated that. Writing the dialogue itself, no issues with it. On the style of the dialogue, the content of the message, however, has a lot of problems. A lot of problems. Not carefully edited whatsoever, especially when you start saying billions of light years. No, that's not a serious editor that went through this, and that was something that you could fix without changing any art. Right.
Oh, definitely. The NORAD thing that you guys brought up that I missed.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that when I read it because I was probably thinking NORAD in my head the whole time. I obviously saw that it wasn't. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I noticed that they didn't say NORAD at first, right?
Well,
when
and
when they snuck it in,
say NORAD? It's
why would
not
they
like
not say
there's
NORAD?
a copyright on it.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like you could just
the
use
continuity. Yeah, well,
Yes.
like they said it later. You brought that up, and I was like, "What? Oh, they did? Oh, yeah, shit, they did. I didn't even see that because
Right.
NORAD went straight through my brain, being as that it was NORAD."
Yeah. So this was all just, a lot of poop that I don't think you can resurrect much out of that. Once they started just really going, there are not enough sharks for them to jump right away.
No.
And so for that, I give them the first score of the series at DEFCON 4 out of 5, which is not good.
You totally nuked it, dude.
DEFCON 4 out of 5.
Yeah, as you guys know, I don't harp on the grading, but I kind of like to do it for certain things. This is going to be the only saving grace would have been some of the background art for spacing, the time, the sweeping of ships. You guys know I love that kind of stuff in comic books. That one cockpit scene in the Viper was awesome because it was really detailed. They put a lot of effort into it. Was it enough to save it from an F? Oof. I don't know. No.
F?
No.
Well, yeah,
the art, I loved it, but what they did, it's kind of like saying in issue 14 of the other one that it's a saving grace. No, it's a compliment to what you had done in a couple things. but it got completely out of control. I mean, just completely. You talk about derailing. So all we can hope for is to see what they have next, right, guys? Which we've all read number 2.
Yeah, and you know they just missed the ball. I mean, there's so many things you could have done, and I definitely would have liked an explanation of what happened to the previous characters.
At least some hints. So maybe it has some hints. Creativity.
I wonder if maybe they weren't permitted to do that.
Well, we know in issue 2 they do bring back your favorite character. We get a character reveal.
Yeah.
One of the characters that we already know of, and Captain
Yes,
mentioned it already.
yes.
So we do get that.
They're revealed, but interesting way if you remember the way they're drawn.
Yeah, or how they say it too, right? Because they didn't do it in issue 1, but they do it in issue 2. Like, oh, surprise! We couldn't have just done that in issue 1.
I'm focusing on a certain reveal character coming up that refers to their face.
Well, I'm talking about JT's favorite one. One of JT's favorite characters that he doesn't like. I shouldn't say favorite. That I should clarify. His favorite character he hates.
Yeah.
Because we have favorite characters we love, like Starbuck, right? Some people don't like Starbuck. I fucking love him. But Adama and Colonel Ty, but we get not a character. We get a character reveal of one that we've already met. So in issue 2, we get a character reveal that we haven't met yet, and I loved it. I'm not going to talk about the issue, but there's 2 of them at the end of number 2. And for everybody that's listening, come back next week because it's going to get interesting in number 2, whether you like the comic or whether we liked it as a whole or not. But we get some callbacks, right, guys?
Yes, definitely.
Some good ones. We do. Some good ones. Now, how they deal with it always remains to be seen, just like this one.
Oh, JT, remember, cockpits aren't a place for little kids, but they might have to be.
or 8-foot purple guys who are 350 fucking pounds and they can still fit into a cockpit that barely fits in Apollo.
Oh my God, Boomer's was that Boomer's hair back in the old Galactica comics?
JT pointed out that when the Doctor turned, he's like this massive guy. But we're also talking.
He's Hulk sized.
He's Hulk sized, and then we get what's his name at the end there? God, boom! You're talking about Boomerang, Ollie, who's about 7'5" and 400 pounds, and he's flying in. So I mean, we can laugh at those kind of things, even though it kind of makes us like, what the F, what the frack? This is filter, but you can still make fun of it.
But that's not a real Daggett.
You can't make fun of, right? Because this is what we're doing, like a Daggett. Yeah,
that's not a real Daggett. That's not a real one.
Everybody hates Daggett, but I love the Daggett. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap it up. 2 hours on the one. We've had a good time. I think it's a good break in.
Yeah.
I thank you for having me. I've had so much fun, and this flew by fast.
Yeah, I don't think you realize how far. Well, you had mentioned it. Oh, we're at like almost an hour. I was like, dude, we're almost at 2 now. It didn't seem that second hour went by really quick. But no, thank you for coming on. If you want, please come back on next week and the week after, and the week after, probably, because we're not going to do 3 next week. I can guarantee you that. Unless you have something pressing, we'll blast through them, because we could go a lot quicker, but I'm fine with stretching this one out because we had a lot.
If we're going to blast through all 3 of those, remind me to take my Metamucil before then. So.
Anyway, or go eat some purple shoot. On that note, Gab, thank you for being here, and JT, as always, for being here. Everybody in the chat, Dad Man, Buddy, Phantom, Putin's Cat, FKHCH 2005. I don't think I said that correctly, but I think I was close. I'm sorry if I didn't get it right. I'm not scrolling back. I think that might have been everybody. I think somebody else might have popped in.
Buddy
somewhere.
Hepburn.
Yep. Buddy, Fanty, Dadman, Putin, there he is, FKHC 2005.
And everybody that's going to listen on the rewatch.
And everybody that's good.
Yes.
So we're gonna try to do 2 and 3 next week, unless we have a lot of fun with just the number 2. We'll play that by ear. And Buddy said, yeah, Boxy is there and is a colonial warrior. Yep.
Well, thank you, chat, because you guys have been wonderful. And Buddy, you crack me up, but you know a lot of stuff.
Oh, when Phantom and Buddy get going, jeez, dude, it's hilarious. All right, everybody. At that, we're going to say goodnight and take care.
Good night.